My superpower is that I'm not afraid of failure. I love trying new things. I don't hold on to things too tightly, and I'm able to move on quickly.
Do you listen to your intuition? How are you guided by your intuition?
I think we all have intuition. I think it's a matter of if you want to listen to it or not. I'm not 100% right all the time, but I listen to my body and I just want to know the answer to things. The question that I always ask myself is, what if it works out?
Chriselle Lim is many things all at once. A pioneer of digital fashion storytelling, a serial entrepreneur, and a woman who has built a career by evolving in the public eye with intention and integrity long before creator economy became an industry shorthand. Be delulu in your vision and disciplined in your execution. I'd love for you to unpack that for me a little bit.
You can only receive what you dream of. If you're receiving the bare minimum, that's all you're gonna get. I was able to express and put my soul and stories through a lot of these scents, and I think Phlur saved me more than anything.
Chriselle, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate you coming and speaking with me.
I mean, thank you for having me. I'm such a fan of what you do and your work, so pleasure is mine.
Well, listen, I'm really super excited for you because you are entering my favorite decade of life, which is your 40s. And I just want to hear about what it's been like for you, because there's been so many major events in your life this last, year.
Yeah, I love that we're starting off with this conversation because it's quite literally my favorite topic.
Okay.
And I really believe now that I'm here in my 40s that life begins at 40.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I can confirm.
Okay, great. Because I feel like I truly finally understand myself and I know myself at this point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think anything before that, I was still figuring it out
Mm-hmm.
and learning about what it is what my desires are, who I am, who I want to be. And now that I know, I'm like, okay, it's game time now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited to enter this new decade of mine. And just with full confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I feel it gets, well, at least for me, it was like I just started to give zero,
Mm-hmm.
at this point, because I know what I want and what I don't want, and I know who I am, and I know what works for me. Has that been what you've experienced?
Yeah, absolutely. And given that I've always been a people pleaser, I think just growing up, that was just my natural state of always making sure everyone was happy around me, being the oldest daughter, taking care of everyone. You too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always been just a natural habit for me to think about so many other people besides myself. But now that I'm here and gone through everything that I needed to get through, I don't have the desire to please anyone except for myself and the people that are important. And that feels really good because you're able to really just focus and just give the time that you want to give to the people that matter the most. And you're one of them.
Thank you so much. Yeah, because that's really the ultimate luxury is time. So where you're spending your energy and your time is really indicative of what's important to you.
Yes, absolutely. It feels good. It feels really good.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, you will enjoy it. It's a blast.
Why do you say that it was your favorite?
Because you're still young and you're still feel relevant and with everything, you're still dynamic and all of that, but then you're also 100% who you are. You're not kind of discovering, you're always discovering yourself, but I feel like you really sit in your power in a way when you hit 40 that you're kind of, there's just a click, a shift that energetically that happens.
I always say that age is just a number, but I think there's something more to that. I think it's the experience that you have to experience before you understand why things work, why they are the way they are. And I feel like with age, you get to experience those experiences. And I've gone through so many hardships in the last few years that made me really understand not only how people are, but also who I am. So
exactly. It's a real deep understanding of who you are. I mean, we're always expanding and always learning, but we finally have those benchmarks that we can touch points that we have. So I wanted to circle back a little bit to the beginning, because for you're the OG, similar to like, I'm thinking of Garance Doré. Your life has been online pretty much for, I want to say like 15, 20 years?
almost 20 years now.
20 years, yeah. What has that experience been like? Because it really is, you are that first generation that living completely online, first, with digital and now with social. What are the big takeaways for you about that experience?
I think being kind of within that pioneer group of women, of creators, and they called us bloggers back then, we didn't really know how this would all unfold and how it would develop this industry. And so we were the guinea pigs, really. And there are many things now in hindsight that I'm like, ooh, okay, like there needs to be boundaries around this, but you learn as you go. One of them being my personal life, right? I put a lot out online. Not that I ever regret, because I think I've gotten to where I'm at with the things that I've done, with the choices I've made. But I think there were very little boundaries because there were no examples to follow. But it was an exciting period at that time. It was that transition from, going from one platform, which at the time it was really only print at the time. And it was slowly evolving into digital, and being kind of the first group to experience that. It was scary, but it was also exciting. But we also received a lot of hate during that time.
When did you finally feel like you kind of legitimized and felt like, okay, these people are going to be taking me seriously? Was there a shift? Because I remember when Brian Boy and everybody sat in the front row at Dolce & Gabbana for the first time, and how that just kind of shook the foundation of the fashion and luxury space. But for you, when was that, when you felt like, oh, people are really seeing the power that we wield?
I think probably in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Actually, probably more in the last 8 years. I think it took a while. And people thought it was kind of a trend, a phenomenon during that time, and we would all go away at some point. But I think the industry was just starting and it was just evolving. And I think editors, print, magazines, any traditional, we were all figuring it out together, right? And we also, us as bloggers, we were figuring out how to make this thing work and what our voices were and how we were able to give information that people wanted from us as well. And so I think collectively as a fashion group, we're all figuring it out. And I think it took about 8 to 10 years for people to realize that, okay, we all need to evolve in this digital era, in this digital space. And yeah, it's been exciting just to see it evolve and see all these new creators come up, a lot of new opportunities. It's been incredible.
What has it been like for you then to be sort of like that guiding light for these new creators that are coming up, who are, like you said, maybe being more careful about how they separate their online and their personal life? Like, what are people coming up to you? Are you giving advice? What's that kind of been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of little sisters in the industry. Just because I am much older than a lot of these creators
Stop
now.
it.
It's funny because sometimes I still get invited to events with a lot of Gen Z creators, which I love being around this like young energy just because it gives me energy as well. But when I tell them, they're like, so how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 40. And they literally gasp. I'm like, wait, is that old? Because I don't feel old. I feel like your age.
No, it's true. It really is. There's a certain amount of it that is really age is just a number of that. There's a reason that line sticks is because it is all in the mind. It's a mindset.
Yeah,
it really is a mindset.
But yeah, it's exciting for me because when I look at the new generation and they are really killing it with content and they're so creative, when I see how people are editing and thinking of these different ideas, I'm like, wow, like it's come so far. And not that, me and my peers need the credit, but there is some sort of like pride of like, we started this, and it's evolved into so much more, and it's an actual industry now. That makes me proud.
Yeah, it's a full, and it is the dominant industry. I mean, it's taken over for print and taken over for advertising. It really is that space. And in terms of that, what I've really been impressed by you is your adaptability and how game you are to pivot in experience and fail forward, as it were. And I'm going to try TikTok. I'm going to try other things. Like, where does that kind of come from in terms of who you are as a person, that you're like, I'm going to try new things. I'm going to risk. I'm going to dare.
I think my superpower is that I'm not afraid of failure. I love trying new things. And if it doesn't work, I don't hold on to things too tightly. And I'm able to move on quickly. But the question that I always ask myself is, what if it works out? And if it does, amazing. If it doesn't, then I learned something and we can move on from it. And so that's always been my ethos with my businesses and just evolving, is that you got to evolve, you got to try things. Majority of it probably won't work, but if that one thing works, then it was all worth it. And so even with my brand Phlur, that was a thought in my head of, okay, there's a big chance that this might not work out, but what if it does, right? And that curiosity has always led me and guided me to make the decisions that I've made in my life. So,
well, let's talk about how Phlur came into your life, because I know there was a time where you had like a fashion brand, but what was it that made you decide that you want to take a brand that existed, completely revamp it, and tell me about that kind of origin story where you came into the picture?
Yeah, so I've always been a fan of fragrances. Did I ever think that I would be an owner of a fragrance brand? No, absolutely not. That was not in my cards. But I've always viewed fragrance as a finishing touch of your outfit. I felt naked without my fragrances. And so I viewed it more as an accessory.
Okay.
And so when I got the opportunity to come on board with Phlur, because Phlur was an existing fragrance brand,
Correct.
I was familiar with them because they were the pioneers in being transparent with all of their ingredients. This was years ago when no one knew what was in their fragrance. Phlur actually listed out all the ingredients that was in the fragrance. And so they created a very, very niche fan base of people that were obsessed with just clean fragrances. And because I knew about them and I loved their scents, when this opportunity came about, I was like, what if this could work out? This could be a very fun project for me. I could tell lots of interesting stories through scent. I'm a storyteller at heart. I'm a big fangirl of some of these noses that we work with. And I said, what if I could actually work with Jerome Epinette and Frank Vocal, which we have them on as part of our team, and I could create these amazing stories with these scents. That would be a dream come true. And so I just kind of fantasized about what could happen if I came on board with Phlur and these ideas came about. And so I was going through a big transition in my life, which I'm sure you know about, is I was going through my divorce at the time. And the question I had to myself was, I'm already at the bottom. Like, I am so broken and I am so depressed right now. Life can only get better from here.
Okay.
And so what if this could be a distraction for me at the time? Like, it could just be an outlet for me to be creative. And so I took that chance. And Phlur was coming into its second life as well. And I was coming into my second life as well. And I just felt like there's a lot of synergy between the two of us. And I always say that I think Phlur saved me more than anything. I know people say that I helped bring Phlur back to life, but I feel equally about the same with Phlur. It really saved me during the darkest period of my life. And I was able to express and put my soul and stories through a lot of these scents, and it healed me in so many ways.
I mean, it's really impressive how you were able to, revisualize Phlur from top to bottom, because the narratives are different, the names are different, the packaging is different. Can you talk about how that ideation and the thinking behind what you wanted to tell with it and that storytelling aspect? If you like this conversation, well, then you clearly have got good taste. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and share the love. Because honestly, who wouldn't want a front row seat to fashion's best stories?
When I came on board with Phlur, I wanted to keep the core of Phlur, which was the transparency. That is what drew me to Phlur, and I knew that was important. If that was important to me, that must be important to a lot of people. So that was the core of who Phlur was. But we didn't want to put that front and center as the main marketing piece. I think when I call it fear-mongering type of marketing, when you talk to people about what's good and what's bad and what you shouldn't put in. Yes, that is one way to market, but I wanted Phlur to be a happy brand. I wanted it to bring joy to people. And so I said, we will still keep the core of who Phlur is, but if people want to know about that, they could find it out on our website. They could look it up. But on the forefront of it, let's make it very chic. Let's make it colorful. youthful without being juvenile.
It's very playful too.
Playful, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I view fashion. I really view Phlur as a fashion brand because when I walk into my closet, I don't necessarily want to put on the same thing every day. I want to play, depending on where I'm going, who I'm seeing, what the vibe is, what the mood is. That's who I am for the day. And yes, I might have my core pieces, but I want to play. I want to feel good. And so I think my fashion lens really allowed me to play with Phlur and allowed to view Phlur in a different way than maybe what a traditional fragrance house would look at a fragrance. And I think my lack of, I guess, background in fragrance kind of helped me in that sense because I viewed it so differently.
So there was no imposter syndrome or is it just because you're a big fan of it? I mean, how does that, because so many of us have that imposter syndrome, even at this point in our lives. Was there none of that came up for you at all?
Oh no, a ton of it. I would be lying if I told you that I had none. I mean, I think it's all in the mind. It's a mental game. But when you're going into a new industry and you just see all these incredible people and these fragrance houses and what they've done and people that you admire and respect so much, sometimes you're like, who am I to do this, right? Who am I to start a fragrance brand amongst so many others that have done such great things? And so that was a little voice that spoke to me every single day. But for me, it wasn't about competing. It wasn't about trying to prove anyone. Again, it was a passion project for me. And so I just always had to focus on what I wanted to do. And of course, really learn from the best of the best, from these noses that I just admire and respect. I kind of went back to school with them to learn kind of what they knew. Of course, they're the chemists and the noses that are blending things together. But being able to learn from them and ideate with them was an absolute dream. And that definitely helped with my imposter syndrome.
So you're trying to ignore that little voice, the imposter syndrome voice, but the flip side of that, or maybe not the flip side of that, but where does kind of that intuition come into play for you? Do you listen to your intuition? How are you guided by your intuition?
I think we all have intuition. I think it's a matter of if you want to listen to it or not. But you have to be really connected with yourself to really hear what your body is telling you. And for me, if it's something that I cannot stop thinking about, and it's something that just keeps coming back up over and over and over again, whether it's an idea or a purchase or something that replays in my mind, I'm like, okay, something is telling me that I need to move in this path. And I don't know, maybe it might not be the right path, but my gut is telling me that I have to at least discover it to know. And so I've always been led by my intuition. I'm not 100% right all the time, but I listen to my body and I just want to know the answer to things. So yeah.
Well, I love it's important to stay curious. That's the
How about you?
Yes, I think there has to be enough stillness to be able to hear that voice, because the intuition voice, with that little voice in the back of your head, the times that I don't listen to it are when things go wrong for me. So I'm trying to really listen when it perks up and says something, whispers in my ear. So yeah, for sure.
I like that you said stillness, because I think that is something a lot of us have a hard time with because we're all so busy. But it is the moment of stillness where maybe it's not so obvious, but it's in those quiet moments where those big aha moments, at least for me, come up.
I mean, there's so few of them for us. I mean, honestly, right now, it's like in the shower. It's the only time I'm not have my phone attached to my hand. There are very few moments of stillness.
Do you have a place where you always get like your best ideas?
Yeah, I think the shower actually, or walks. I don't know. What about you?
For me, it's on the treadmill, but it's not when I'm like in a class. It's literally on the treadmill with no music, and I'm just looking at a wall. It sounds so boring because it is, but it's when my mind isn't distracted by music or something visual. That's where I start hearing myself. And that's when I always get my best ideas then.
I wanted to ask you, there was something you recently posted. You said, be delulu in your vision and disciplined in your execution. I'd love for you to unpack that for me a little bit.
Yeah. It's a motto that I go by, be delusional, as in you can only receive what you dream of. And so if you're receiving just like the bare minimum, that's all you're going to get. So be a little delusional. Not a little, be real delusional. Because at that point, you could dream as big as you can of your wildest fantasies and your desires. And then once you kind of snap out of that, you have to come back to reality and execute. So I know there's a lot of TikToks and memes being like, be delulu. Yes, that's one part.
Sure.
But the second part is like, you got to be very disciplined. Okay, how are we going to go back and make this happen? You can't just have this amazing idea and you just sit there and hope that it's going to happen. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, wait for someone to discover you.
Yeah, no. So what I like to do is I have these crazy ideas, and once I feel like it's something that I have to really do and see through, then I'll start working backwards. Okay, this is where I want to launch this. So from there, how do I work backwards? Whether it be from 3 years to a year, then to 6 months, to a month, then to 3 weeks, to a week, and then day by day, you're just breaking it down. And that's how I always map out kind of my delusional ideas.
I love that. And it's also so important, those little wins, so that, because if you're only looking at that final goal, it can be so disheartening, because even though you've accomplished this and you've accomplished this are your stepping stones, if you don't recognize the successes of those stepping stones, it can be quite demoralizing.
Well, it's also overwhelming to even imagine how you're going to get there. And sometimes when it's that big of a goal, it paralyzes you. So you don't even try. And so I think breaking things down is so important, because you're like, okay, yeah, I could actually write that email. That's an easy next step. Oh yeah, I could pick up the phone and call someone and ask for a referral, right? So once you're able to see the big vision and then break it down into small, tiny steps, and you're like, I can do that. I can do that every day. Yeah.
At this point in your life, what are your non-negotiables?
Sleep.
Girl, I 100% agree.
I mean,
right.
I used to do all-nighters and be totally fine. If I don't get my 8 to 10 hours of sleep now, I'm like a mess.
Okay, sleep, number one. I love that that's the first on your list.
Yeah, sleep, working out. Like, again, being on the treadmill. It's more, yes, now that I'm 40, I have to do my weight training and making sure that my muscle is not depleting. But besides that, it's also for my mental health. I think running really gives me a lot of clarity, as we talked about, being on that treadmill. So that being another non-negotiable. The third one is my vitamins. These are all boring stuff, by the way.
No, I mean, but it's good. People are writing this down, I'm sure. Yeah,
vitamins.
See, I don't do. I really have to do that. I get such grief from my family that I'm not doing the vitamins.
I do AM and PM vitamins.
Okay.
I take it's disgusting how many vitamins I take, but it's all for longevity. Like I once I hit 40, I'm like, okay, I gotta be really, really good at my execution.
Yeah.
So I'm here for the long run. Okay, so besides that, before I go to bed, I read.
Okay.
I'm not on my phone at least for 30 minutes. I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but
in this day and age, it sounds like an eternity, I have to say. But
30 minutes just reading a book is so important for me to decompress. But also, I started off as a reader and a writer. That's where my first love came from, is reading and writing. That's why I started with the blog. And so it just kind of takes me back to that place, because it's so easy not to read. It's so easy to just be on your phone all day. And there's something nice about just holding something like tangible and like
so you're not a Kindle
pages.
Person. You like to flip the pages?
I'm not a Kindle person. I love my books. I love like smelling the books. I love like folding the pages.
Are you somebody who does multiple books at once, or do you have to do one at a time?
I do multiple.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually do about 2 to 3 at a time, just because I have different genres that I I have my fiction, but which I love. It's my escape. But I also have my business books.
So the learning.
Yeah, the learning. And I also have my parenting books because I'm about to enter the teen years with my girls. So I'm currently reading this book that a lot of moms recommended me called Detangled. It's about more than helping your girls, it's helping you, like as a mother, what to expect as your teen girl is about to go into a different chapter in her life. And so, yeah, so again, different genres and dependent on like what mood. Usually if I had like an argument with my daughter, I'm like, I'm going to read Detangled tonight.
Maybe there's some insights in there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that really brings it up to the next question I really wanted to ask you, because I'm the mother of 3 daughters. You're the mother of 2 daughters. They're at different points in their lives. But what are you doing? How are you being intentional about raising really strong, independent women?
Yeah. This is a topic I love because it's something that I put a lot of effort and thought into and something I don't really show so much on social. But because I co-parent and the girls are with me 50% of the time, one of the biggest and most important attributes that I try to teach the girls is responsibility for themselves and each other. The one thing I always tell them is, look, mommy's only with you half the time. Daddy's only with you half the time. The only person that is always with you is your sister.
I love that.
And so no matter how much you guys have fought that day, that is normal. You guys always have to make up.
Yeah.
You guys, and it just brings me so much joy just to see them taking care of each other and being responsible for each other, backing each other up. And so one thing that, and as a woman, as someone that used to be so controlling over how perfectly everything should be done, this was a very hard practice for me, but I think it's helped everyone just like take ownership of their own life, is I don't do things for them anymore. I could easily do all the things for them, right? I could make them their breakfast every morning. I do that, but then...
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
You need, that independent streak is so important to foster at a young age.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't care. You have to make your bed every morning. Like, I know it's such a small little thing, but it allows them to be responsible whether they're with me or when they're with their dad. My oldest daughter, she's a rider. She rides horses. And I said, look, this is a privilege to ride a horse. Not many people can do that. So your responsibility, whether you're with mom or dad, rain or shine, you're in there cleaning the poo every single day, if this is something that you want to do.
We're so aligned. My 3 daughters, all horses as well.
Really?
Like, yeah, because it's built such responsibility.
Yes.
You're taking care of another, being, and, you have, and there's that connection. It also keeps the boys away a little bit longer.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the main reasons where I'm like, yeah, go for it. Like, it's worth all the money.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I think I think those are really good touch points, and that idea of responsibility. Have you gotten to the point where they're talking to people on the phone? Because my daughters were terrified about, I'm like, so you're going to go and order the pizza or whatever, like just that kind of, like that kind of, adulting moments.
So not on the phone, because there's very little need now for them to be on the phone with someone. Yeah. But when we are ordering something, I never order for them. When we're at a restaurant, my youngest one still kind of like talks really low, but I'm like, speak louder. Speak louder. And they know that I will not do it for them. So they do it. And now we're working on eye contact, because now they will say it and they'll be like, I want mac and cheese, but they'll be looking over there and the waiter's over there.
Eye contact is intense. That's a big one.
Yeah,
especially with adults.
I'll be like, nope, do it again with eye contact. And it's building up their confidence. And yeah, sure, it's easy to do it for them. It's probably 10 times faster. But these are things that are I think, important to teach daughters.
I wanted to circle back to Phlur, because give me the timeline. The date when you came on board was how many years ago now?
2021.
2021. So 4 years later, you're like, you have an offer to someone who comes in and wants to buy it. talk to me about that decision.
Yeah.
And because you had been working, it's your baby, and also 4 years is not a lot of
Very
time.
fast.
Very
Yeah.
fast. So what was that push-pull about that? And where did that final decision to go ahead and
Yeah.
bite the bullet come from?
When I came on board with Phlur, I couldn't even have imagined to be where I'm at today with the brand.
Mm-hmm.
I think the company grew a lot faster than what I would have ever imagined and dreamt of.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a very small team. And so we came to a place where we're like, okay, we need help.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We're so blessed and so lucky that we've grown so much. And so we were in a place where we were starting to look for partners.
Okay.
And we didn't think it was going to happen that fast. But when we got approached by TSG, who is the company that acquired Phlur, it just made a lot of sense for us because you kind of have to, it's kind of like going into a relationship with anybody. You have to date them for a little bit to really understand what their motive is, what their goals are, their end goal. And it was just the same synergy. And I have to say, a few months in now, nothing really has changed as far as a team dynamic goes. I think the biggest question mark for a lot of people is like, what's going to change, right?
Sure.
After an acquisition. But it's been so seamless and they've been wonderful partners. And really just, they wanted to help us storytell and expand even more. And so it's been just, it feels really, really good to be with the right partner.
And it's been quite a whirlwind because, you've expanded into the Middle East, you're expanding out to the rest of the world. And so you're on the road all the time. How do you deal with that? Because again, as I was, coming up and traveling to all the fashion weeks and doing all of that and having that mommy guilt. But do you have, I also have to say that I also like to have a bubble bath in the hotel room. Like that's like my jam. I love it. So I don't know about you, but how are you handling that at time away and having to travel the world now with this big rollout?
I've traveled a lot for the last 15 years of my life, but I haven't ever traveled this intensely before. This was, I think, the last year. I was like, wow, if I were to be a rock star, this is probably the lifestyle that it is because I'm constantly on the road. And kind of going back to the chat about mindset with the guilt, I think women naturally, we're all born with guilt. No matter if you're a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, you're always guilty. And so it's about managing that guilt and really being able to surround yourself with people that could support you, whether it be mentally or physically with your kids. And I'm very lucky where my ex-husband and I are very good friends at this point. We live very close to each other. My parents are really close to us. His parents are really close to us. So it's like this one massive blended family. And so I have a lot of support and I feel very, very lucky. And I'm always honest with the girls. Like, look, mommy is not around as much as I would like. But I am building something that is really important to me. And when I can, when they don't have school, I bring them with me. And I took Chloe on a few business trips and she works with me. And she's like, at first it's exciting, but towards the end she's like, I'm ready to go back to school.
This work stuff's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. And so I think that kids are a lot smarter than we think they are and give them credit. And so I try to be as honest as I can with them and also show them my world a little bit more when age appropriate. I think Chloe is age appropriate now. I think Colette is still a little young. My whole thing is like when they're 10, they each get to go on their first business trip with me.
Oh, love.
Yeah. So Chloe went on her first with me last year and it was a big moment for her. And
what was her big takeaway from that other than I'm ready to go back to school?
That it's a lot of work. She was on her feet all day. I took her to SMC, which was a Sephora manager conference. So we're literally on our feet talking with all the Sephora managers and we're getting to know them and she's passing out the testers and the new scents. And also I think it was good for her confidence because again, she had to to talk to people, look at them in the eye, and everyone's like, "Oh, what's your name?" And she had to shake their hands. And so I think she understands that it takes a lot of work, physical work as well, because I think sometimes kids have this fantasy of like when mommy or daddy are away for work, they're like on a plane and partying or having some. So I don't know. I think it was a good realization for her, but I also think that she can respect what I do and could maybe one day, I don't know, hopefully model herself after her mom. That's the dream, right?
Yeah, right. No,
that's
of course.
The dream. So we'll see if it pays off.
Well, no, I think it's really, this is the thing that when I talk about the guilt with my daughters and they come back to me and they say, yes, of course we miss you, but we also got to see you, as they say in French, épanoui, like really filled with joy of what you were doing, that you were loving what you were doing, so that we, you reflected this idea of you can have a job that you love, you can do what you love,
and still be a great mom.
Yeah, and still
right?
be a great mom. Hopefully, knock on wood. Looking back over your career and your life and your choices that you made, and I know that I think you're a big believer, and I'm a big believer in this, that there are no mistakes. It's all just lessons. Yeah. But if you could give yourself, or maybe somebody who's wants to follow in your footsteps, it's the classic question of like, what advice or how would you oyster their confidence if they were just starting out now?
You truly don't know yourself until you failed. And so give yourself the grace to make the mistakes and don't hold on to your mistakes too tightly. Let them go and move on. I think in the early stages of my life, I made some mistakes that crippled me. And I was just like so embarrassed, right? And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then I would disappear. I would literally this was probably in college years. I would disappear where people like couldn't find me. Like I would literally not pick up the phone and not show up to things.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Yeah. But it's you learn from your mistakes and you get better from your mistakes, and they don't define you, who you are. If anything, they make you better and more whole and wiser. And so leaning into those risks, and make those risks while you're young, because you have room. Yeah. You have space.
Yeah. Like before you have kids and before you have that mortgage, go out there and take all those risks.
Yeah. On someone else's time.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing. So when you're talking about being a founder, or you're talking about being an entrepreneur, or, it was influencer and then, or content creator, or however you want to phrase it, like, at what point did you kind of feel like that you would switch, that I'm in my founder era, or now I'm an entrepreneur, or how do you see yourself, I guess, at this point in your career?
I think that was, and still is, if I'm being honest, a question that I have for myself, because I started off as a creator. I've always been a creator. That is who I am. As long as I'm creating, I'm in my happy space. But I think the way I create is changing now as a founder. And so you probably won't see as much of what I used to do on social media. I mean, sometimes I'll still do the get ready with me's and all of that. But I feel like I'm in my era of wanting to make impact and storytelling on the lessons and mistakes that I've made. And I really think about the next generation, especially because I probably have 2 little daughters. I always ask myself, what do I want them to learn? What do I want them to take away? And I look at kind of like all my internet followers as like my little sisters or my little daughters, even though some of them are probably my age. And I try to put out more content that, if I am creating content, that is helpful in that sense. And so, yeah, I think the way I create content is just different as a founder now versus as a fashion creator, which I still love. I still have my favorite fashion moments, and I online shop a lot. And I still love going to fashion weeks, but that's not my end all be all anymore, like it used to be.
So then what is fascinating you right now? What are you excited about? Is there an aspect of social media or something completely different? Is I'm sure it is still Phlur. Is that the creating of the next scent? What is the thing that gives you tingles and gets you out of bed in the morning in terms of the creative side of things?
Yeah. I think that's a really good question because I realized that when I'm actually living life and just being out in the world versus in the office, always working, that's when I get the most inspiration. When I'm with people, when I'm traveling and observing just like culturally what people are doing and taking away from those moments. I think when I'm with community, when I'm with people and learning from them in any form, that gets me the most excited. And so I do try to carve out time where I'm not working, but I am working because I'm getting inspired, right? And so just being out in the world is something that's important to me, but also reading. Reading is a big part of who I am, but I kind of stopped for a long time because there's just too much of everything, right?
Yeah.
Socially, visually. So I've been going back to a lot of reading and writing. I'm in my happy place when I can do that. What else has been inspiring me? I think the young generation, to be honest. I think the new generation, they just think differently. And so I get inspired by how people think. And I'm always about evolving and adapting. I don't want to be one of those. I was like, well, in my days, like this is how we were doing things.
Exactly.
I don't like that. I want to evolve and I want to learn from the new generation. And so I like being out in the world and understanding them. Like right before this, I was with this really young TikToker. And like how they think of content is like so fast and it's
like innate.
Yes. And I thought I was good, right? But I'm like seeing these young kids that I'm like, wow, how did you come up with that?
Yeah.
And that inspired me, right? And so I think this new generation, they do care. They have access to a lot of information. So they're a lot smarter now with what's going in their product, who they're supporting, where they want to put their money behind. A lot of people are also using vintage now because if we're talking about fashion, because there's a lot of information that pieces are not made how they used to be. Your money is not like that money that you're buying with the bag is it's not the same quality as it was 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Exactly.
And so...
And buying better and less.
Yeah.
I mean, there seems to be a real intentionality about that for this generation, and no phobia about buying vintage in the way that there some was in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just seeing the process of how they're consuming and how they're taking content and shopping, that's all very interesting to me. And I always use that as inspiration.
Talk to me more about the shopping part. How they shopping is different in what way?
I think they're just smarter. I think in my generation, we believed in all the marketing, right? We believed in like all the celebrity ads and, I don't know, that person's holding up this cream, she must be using it, right?
Yeah.
But
They're think more savvy than we were.
Yeah, way more savvy.
They question. They question it all.
I mean, I think there's good and bad to every generation, but I do like that they do question, and there's just access to a lot of information now. And so I think when it comes to product choices, they're a lot smarter about it, and that makes me happy.
And I think also there's a work-life balance that they're really very kind of feisty about, like, this is my time. And
I know that's something we're not used to.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean you have a weekend? Or I'm going to, clocking out at a decent hour. It's really quite a surprise for me.
Yeah. I mean, I was an unpaid intern pretty much my entire college life, and that's how I really learned the tools of the trade. But, the world has evolved and it just doesn't work that way anymore, and we've all adapted. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's not how we did things back then. But again, I don't want to be one of those people that I'm like,
back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, we had to walk through 40 miles of snow or whatever.
I had to get my boss coffee every hour and throw out the trash.
Oh my God.
You know?
So true. I really try and not do those things.
Yeah, same.
Okay, let me ask you. I have 5 classic fashion questions or fashion your seatbelt questions that I ask all of the people who come and speak with me. So I guess the first one I want to ask you is, of all of the pieces that you own, jewelry or clothing, what is that one piece that you cherish above all others?
There's a few, but the one that comes to mind right now is this Bulgari Serpenti watch.
There's a backstory to that watch.
There is a
Tell me.
backstory. And I've been a lot more intentional myself with shopping, and because I love shopping. But I always try to tie things with moments in my life.
Same.
And so it's not just about buying something because I really want it, though there are moments like that, but it's more about, okay, this is a special moment and I want to remember this moment. So let me get something nice for myself that I remember this moment for. So I got this watch a year after I walked away from my divorce, or after I walked away from my marriage, on my birthday. So I got a divorce on my birthday. And so I got this watch for myself a year after. And I've never celebrated myself on my birthday, ever. It was just not something that my family did culturally. And I always just kind of shied away from celebrating my birthdays. So I said, I'm not going to do that this year, even though I'm alone and I don't have anyone to buy me something nice and lovely. I'm going to do that for myself. What is one thing that I've been wanting? And it was this watch. And so I decided that I got this watch on my birthday of 2021. And every time I look at it, more than the watch, I think about my freedom. And so, yeah, I would have to say this watch.
That's a great story. And I love how you reclaimed your birthday because, if it had been the day you got divorced, you now no longer think of it in that way.
I think about a nice shiny object.
I mean, it's a classic. Come on. No, but I'm very similar. Whenever I change jobs, I buy myself a piece of jewelry. That's how I kind of like this. And I have yet for my new job, I have to go and get a piece. But yeah.
Are we eyeing something?
Oh, yeah. I've got my eye on something. We can talk about that. So talking about investment, and we're talking about the younger generation who are being more savvy and buying vintage, but I'm curious if there was a piece of fashion, it's a luxury piece of fashion or a piece of clothing, what would you recommend that everybody really save their pennies up and like buy quality this or buy designer this?
That's a good question. So I have a few pieces in mind, and these are pieces that I personally wear every single week that don't necessarily go out of style. They're not the most exciting pieces, but they're just classics and staples. I have I forgot what year it is, but I have a Saint Laurent blazer. It's the very strong shouldered one. I think it was maybe from, I would say 2019.
Oh, so this is Anthony Vaccarello era.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And ever since then, I've gotten those blazers in a lot of different colors because it's just a classic structured piece. It's the one blazer I wear to work, to all my meetings. I pack it in my bag. Another one that is kind of unexpected, actually, because I wouldn't have ever guessed that this would become my staple. But it's a black leather Rick Owens dress.
Ooh.
It's just, Rick
Owens, girl.
It's a maxi dress, and it's my always just in case I don't have a nice piece to wear to a dinner. I wear that dress. I think I've worn that dress more than 30, 40 times.
Wow.
Since I've gotten it. And I think I've gotten it maybe 5 years ago. And so that's another classic piece.
So great power blazer, a great staple dress that's evergreen in its design.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are good.
What are yours?
Oof. I've never had somebody throw that question back at me. Oh my God. No, I think there is something to be said for a great blazer. You know, when you that you put it on and then you just look dressed. I think that's a really strong statement.
I would say a trench coat as well.
Yeah, can't go wrong with a trench coat.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
any season. I have, of course, there's a classic Burberry, but I have one from Acne that I've
worn to death.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, well then let's flip the switch on this, and I'm going to ask you. So what? I mean, it almost sounds passé not to even ask this question anymore. So many years that I've been asking it, but what is one trend that you would never follow? Like never follow. What did you think I was going to say? Wait.
That a trend that I love currently.
Okay, give me both. Yeah, what's a trend that you love and what's a trend you would never follow?
Trend that I would never follow. My gosh. I'm an open-minded girl, but ...
I
would have to say sweatpants.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you wear? Wait, what do you wear when you're on planes? Not sweatpants. Okay.
No, I never wear sweatpants out in public, ever.
Okay.
I know there are girls and guys that make them look cool. I just think it looks sloppy.
I love that. It says so much about you, I gotta say. Okay.
I mean, I see fashion girls like wearing it with heels and making it look cool. I'm just not that girl.
Okay.
I will wear a pair of very loose trousers that are low-waisted on a plane because they're, in my opinion, more comfy than my sweatpants. They're just airy and loose. And so I think there's chicer ways to get comfort.
Okay, so no sweatpants zone. Gotcha.
Let's clarify. I do wear sweatpants at home.
Sure, but out in the
no
world.
sweatpants outdoors.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweatpants are for vegging in front of the TV, binge watching Netflix. Gotcha.
Not to be in public.
Okay, I hear you.
I know some people are going to come at me, but that's just my opinion.
You're totally entitled. And so what trend are you loving?
I don't know if it's a trend, but I guess I should just call out a brand. I'm very excited about the new Chanel. I've loved Chanel, but I think it needed a refresh and a rebirth, and I'm a big fan of Mathieu.
Yeah.
So
very exciting times.
Yeah. Again, that's not a trend; it's a specific moment in time. But what I've seen, I know it's people have love-hate relationship with what they're doing, but I personally absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I'm an everyday gal. If I could get some really great jeans and a sweater with oversized, like, I don't know, Chanel, like statement earrings, like it.
Heaven.
That's my kind of wardrobe.
So then I guess that leads perfectly into my next question. Which designer, living or dead, would you love to meet or speak with? Who's your favorite designer?
That's a very hard question, but I would say McQueen.
Lee, yeah.
Yeah.
He was amazing. Yeah, really wonderful man.
And Jean-Paul Gaultier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else?
What is it about Lee that makes him the
It's emotional. It's just.
Did you attend any of his shows?
I didn't. I didn't get to attend any.
No.
Yeah. I know. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I fantasize so much about it, because as a fashion girl, I looked at magazines. I went on to what was the website back then? Was it style.com?
Yeah.
And just to like see every little thing like in college, like that these designers were doing. And I didn't get to experience it in person. And
no,
I think
it was exceptional. Not to rub it in, but his shows, his and John's at Dior were life affirming.
Well, Seb, my fiance, he's been around for a long time in fashion, and he's got to experience some of like my dream shows. And so he he said that it was beyond.
It was beyond.
Yeah.
And Seb and I need to talk. Oh, we have to talk.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys attended many shows together.
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll definitely have to set that up.
And Galliano too.
Oh yeah, Galliano. Well, I mean, Galliano's Dior shows were such events.
I know.
I wonder if Seb was at the one where he strapped the model to the front of the train and they came into the train station.
I don't
all the
know.
models
You have to
came
ask
off.
him.
Okay, yes, that one. Everyone. So of course John was super late. The whole event was super late. So, and LVMH, they were just pouring the champagne, so everybody was completely out of their minds already. And when the show finally started, everyone was in such a good mood. Let's
I just
put
feel
it
like
that way.
fashion back then was a different era because there were no phones.
Exactly. I remember when phones got in the way.
I hate being that person, being like back in the day, but I think because everything is so accessible now through the phone and no one wants to be their true authentic self just in case something happens, someone gets canceled or called out. It adds kind of this layer of filter to people where you can't really see the true color and their true self. And there's obviously benefits and magic to getting immediate content. That's what I do for a living as well. And to be able to give it to have fashion for the masses and have everyone be able to experience it online. But I think because I didn't get to experience these moments in real life of these fashion weeks and these fashion shows way back in the day when everything was so tight and closed, there's still this kind of fantasy about it.
But I mean, that thing about the phone, it's like even the people are in the room, they're filming it. So they're not even looking at it as they're filming it. They want to make sure they get the angle right on their phone. So they're not even experiencing it in the room. So the days now when you actually get people clapping at the end, it's really telling because it's an indication that people put their phone down and actually wanted to recognize in a way. I mean, now it's such a rarity to have that. It makes me so sad that even in the room you're not experiencing it. Or that people are no longer designing a great elegant black dress because it doesn't read as well on the camera, on social.
Yeah, I know. I feel like
that's a little heartbreak.
I think it's on both sides because I think also now designers have the pressure to think about social as well. And they're also having to work with these brands where they have to meet certain, goals and KPIs and all of that. And so they're also having to think socially, like what will perform. Whereas before they didn't have that pressure. It's really what kind of was in their hearts and they wanted to create just for people to experience. But again, not being one of those people, but I still fantasize about it. Back in the day. I didn't get to experience it back in the day. So it's just a fantasy that I have in my head.
So wait, then let me ask you real quick. And I have one more question, the final question after this, but quick tangent is like, what is the fashion show that you really like, that you attended, that you were like, about, that you went to?
There were two.
Okay.
And because I think a lot of shows no longer put this like theatrical performative effort that they used to. But there was a Tom Brown show that I attended. I forgot what season it was, but it moved me to tears. Like I was crying at the show. It was magical. It was performative. I don't even remember the clothes, to be honest. It was just...
You just remember the emotion.
The moment and the emotion, and it stayed with me forever. Like it took me on that year on this like fashion high. So that being one of them. Again, forgot the year, but it was a while ago. And then Schiaparelli. It still moves me a lot. Less on a theatrical, but in a way where you're just like, how is that even made? Like
the pure creativity that's pouring out of Daniel is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I got to hear him speak at CFDA, I think it was last year or 2 years ago when he won. And his story is so inspiring, which was he was just sleeping on his friend's couch. And he was like, maybe I should try to apply for this job.
On a whim.
Yeah. And like a month later, he was flying out to Paris to be the creative director of
if you wrote it as a movie, nobody would believe it. It would be too farfelu, too crazy.
Yeah. And that, I think, from his story to just how his vision, and when you look at it, you could tell that he's not just doing things to sell. It's pure creativity, and you don't really see that as much anymore. And I just really appreciate that.
Well, I hope we're coming into a new era where we'll see more of that will go in that
so.
direction.
I think so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
All right, final question. And I'm going to add on a little tag onto this. So I usually ask, what do you love most about fashions? But what do you love most about fashion, and what do you love most about fragrance?
They go hand in hand. So I guess I have one answer for both. I think it's the ability and the desire that you have. You could physically create that to how you want to feel or how you want to be out in the world, even when you don't personally feel good about yourself. And you could project that into the world, and it could drive a certain energy. Like, for instance, when I was a teenager, I was not confident at all. I was so insecure, but I spent all of my money on cute outfits, and it was my armor, and people thought I was the most confident person. And so I love that both fashion and fragrance can really do that. It could be your armor and your strength, and you could project into the world of how you want other people to see you as. And it could heal you in so many ways. So, yeah.
I love fashion as a healing element. That makes me happy.
Yeah, me too.
Chriselle, thank you so much for taking the time. It has been such a delight to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.